Hello, dear diary. Today, I watched the YouTube video, which is one of the episodes from how do I call this person is personal trainer and inspiring, and he's a kind of a consultant. How to manage your company, how to motivate your employees, that kind of business person. Then he said he talked about decision. The results will come after your decision. Everything outputs would not decision does not follow by readiness. People think you have to ready for a serious decision, but he says decision first and readiness follows. You make the decision first, you decide, and you will be ready for your decision. That inspired me kind of, so I decided to become a 그래? 오늘 씻고 먼저 씻고 그리고 자. So today I made a decision to be a good instructor, inspiring person who motivate people to learn a language faster and let them get on the right track to follow the basics first, and they let them understand fundamental of language learning. So I'm focusing on how to understand the language acquisition and how to apply the right policy, right strategy to for each individual. I think I'm kind of talented and or I'm in the right track to find a figuring out what and how the language works and how to learn language efficiently and how to pile up your language logics, new language logics on top of each other, so that will eventually build up a big language pillar, language logic. Yeah, he said there are a lot of doubts and mistakes and wonders and a lot of surroundings that are trying to despair you, but you have to be firm and stand still with your decision. Great, then you will be ready and everything resonate with your decision, and you will be becoming the person you are aiming for. So I'm a language learner, and one day maybe I can speak like a C1 or a C2 level English speakers. And actually it's my first step. In about 6 months, less than 6 months, I make my speaking skills reach up to C1 level, so fluent like the C1 speakers. Whenever you normally you can see on YouTube channels and some podcasts, especially English podcasts, you see a lot of people who are saying they learn this language and they become fluent by talking to themselves and talking to mirror and themselves in the mirror and talking to cameras even, and try to speak to themselves whenever they have chance, whenever they even when they are walking or working, even they are driving, they always try to say something verbally, not just passively listening to or reading things. Yet input, especially comprehensible inputs, and that works. That is one major part when you are dealing with a new language. But the one thing you can't miss is vocal logic. You have to deal with your own voice. You have to make sound in your target language. So you build up this vocal logic first, and then after you can go all the way up. So I think they are right. It's been like some decades I didn't know about this, and I just for a decade, since 2017, it's been almost about 9 years. I've just watched videos and read books, and I try to listen to my favorite podcast and try to enjoy the English contents, but haven't got much progress. So that's why I joined Qualcomm English Cafe 2024. I believe it was November. Then I started having regular meetups with these people, English-speaking people, and regularly having English conversation with these great fellas. And I think Qualcomm English Cafe is a great place, giving you a great chance to use your target languages. And they prepare like Japanese and Chinese, mainly English, so you can have an organized meetups regularly. So that's why that's how I improved my speaking skills. From I was barely over A2 level, sometimes B1. So my speaking skill was so poor, but now I think I'm over B2 level and reaching up to C1 level. So less than 4 or 6 months. Yeah, I'm confident about that. I can reach up to C1 level in 6 months or so. So that's what I'm. The reason why I am so confident about that is now I know that I have to use. I should have used, or I should have talked much by using my own lips, by using my own voice, by using my own words. So these days when I lead this group in this when I lead this group of people in reading club, book reading club, it is called the Ring, and I changed it, but I gave it a little bit change to our routine or curriculum. We try to read the book and we gather together and we read together and translate them into our mother tongue. Then we finished. Then we got home. But now I add up one other activity. It's called retelling. So we just read short amount of we just read a chapter or two, then translate them into Korean. Then when we got fully understood about the story, and we summarize or jot down some of the keywords in the story, out of the story, then we just try to retell the whole story in our own words. It is very difficult. It is challenging, and even I believe 99.9% of our members had no experience like this, zero experience about this retelling the story. So yeah, everybody would have summarized a story, or some fellows have experience of copying the book on the note. Some are trying to, some had tried to summarize the story on their own notebooks, and that kind of experience they had. But verbally, talking to yourself or talking to other members, I call this retelling the story. We had zero experience about that. So it is challenging and it's difficult. It's really, really hard to perform. We're doing this with Wimpy, Diary of a Wimpy Kid episode, book number 3. And it's a simple story. It's a kid's story. 5th to 7th, 6th grade kid's story, but wow, it was so challenging and hard to describe the things that happened with these guys, and the detailed story about it is simple, it's just anecdotal incident or some not that big story. We don't need to use some big words or even complex sentence structures, but we can only use simple words in simple sentences. But it is challenging. I believe it is because we never done this before. Then I figured this out. This is the only way you can improve your speaking skills. Only way to improve your vocal logics. So now I'm really, really fully confident about improving my speaking skills in 6 months or so, up to C1 level. That's it for today.